Hi everyone, welcome to our last Facebook Live for the campaign. Thank you to everyone who's participated, obviously online, and for the candidates that turned up. I think they've been really successful, and we'll be looking forward to how we work those into how we do our communications going forward. Couple of things, ballots went out today, so voting papers went out today. Obviously the metro areas will get them, sometime over the next few days, and obviously regional areas in middle of next week, I would say. So keep an eye out for them. Make sure you vote. It's very, very important that you do. So tonight is sub-branch candidates night. We've got 6 willing participants that have turned up. We've got 4 people with me and then 2 online. So we've got Andy Haas from the Illawarra sub-branch. We've got Bob Callow, who's running for the Sydney Central sub-branch. We've got Marty Dixon, wave guys, don't be, yep, and Sam Wassell on the end. We've got 2 people online at the moment. We'll just see if we can hook them in as well. We've got Nicole up there at Bathurst. Say hi, Nicole.
Hello.
Yeah, and we've got Phil there at Temora, and they're both obviously running for the retained sub-branch. So without further ado, I'm going to ask them 4 questions of each candidate. 4 of the same questions that we asked last week for the executive guys, and then after that, if we've got time, we'll run through some of the online stuff as well. So, first question to Mr. Haas. Tell me, what about our collective makes you want to work on our behalf?
Okay, g'day everybody, and thanks for watching. Well, who would want to work for Fireys? I've been a firefighter since 2001. I reckon it's one of the best jobs in the world, and I've always been very interested in representing people and fighting for their rights. I've done it since I was at high school, did it at university. Now I'm doing it in this job. I've been a station delegate. Now I've been the Illawarra sub-branch secretary for 3 years. Really enjoyed it. I would like to do it for another 3 years and work a little bit harder. Being a collective is one of the best things I think any worker can do. It shows our might, and I really enjoy working for members, and I look forward to doing so for the next 3 years.
Yeah, thanks Andy. Bob, same question?
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for tuning in and all those sorts of things. The reason that I wanted to work as part of the collective of the union is just a strong lifetime belief in unionism. I've been in the Fire Brigade 33 years, always considered myself a strong unionist. I've seen all the things that they've won and campaigned for over the years, and believed in most of them. And because of that, I think that this is a good time for me to join in and not just sit on the sidelines anymore. Hopefully that I've got a strong voice, a good ability to communicate, and good ideas and a willingness to listen. So I think that the strength of our collective as a whole is a good time, and it's also it's going to be a tough time for unionism. We're fighting a battle against a lot of fronts, and I just want to be part of that battle and really be strong and, offer good discussion, good debate, good choices, and it is a strong collective, and hopefully we can make it stronger.
Yeah, thanks Bob. Marty?
Yeah, g'day. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. The beauty of our union, unlike many others, is that we're all firefighters. Regardless of the different paths that some of us choose to take throughout our career, we essentially start out the same. That means as a collective, every single job held by every single FBU member is available one way or another to all of us. This is what drives me to push for every single job or position to be the best and most beneficial, as it's not just the person currently in that job that we're fighting for, it's everyone coming behind us also. So that's where I see the benefit of our collective, and that's why I'm pushing for it. Yeah,
thanks Marty. And look, a quick hello to some of the people out there. Sam's girlfriend, or newly married, wife is in there. Hi, Christy, how's things? Comrade Snow, life member Comrade Snow's joined us again. We certainly don't regret that you're here. Comrade Rampling, how are you? Joel, hello Chad once again. Sam, look, your question again. Do you need it read or you're right?
No, that's okay. I can go to it. Look, g'day everyone, thanks for watching. Look, same as everyone else said, I've been doing this for 11 years and I guess I got more and more heavily involved in the union stuff. For me, I suppose the big sort of push for it, where I sort of got more heavily involved, was the 24s. I had a lot to do with that at 42. We were the first to implement that. And I guess for me, the idea of that from the members, we can push forward and we can really improve conditions in this job, that was a big thing for me. So I'm sort of looking more from trying to get the ideas from the members through to SCOM and through further. And I think that the more we're listening to the collective, the more we're pushing that through, the stronger we are and the better we are going forward as a union.
Yeah, thanks Sam. We'll go to our guys that are tuning in from online. We'll go out to Bathurst first. Hi Nicole, how are you?
Hi everyone, thanks for coming.
Yep, good. Have you got the question there? Do you need me to read it to you?
No, I've got it.
No worries.
We'll start now. So basically, how should I put this? Our membership of the FBU is just over 6,000, which means we have 6,000 different voices. And that makes me actually want to get involved and listen to everyone and try and push through ideas. And we've got a huge range of people with different experiences and knowledge, and that just makes me want to get in there. That's pretty much my answer.
Yeah, thanks Nicole. Hello to everyone else that's logging in. There's a few in there as well. I'll cross to Tamora now with Phil. You there, Phil?
Yeah, good evening. Look, I don't want this to sound like a sob story after it's not an Australian Idol. Look, I was bullied a lot as a kid and I didn't know how to stick up for myself. Eventually, as I got older and matured, I wasn't so afraid to stand up to those bullies and help other people. But to me, the department and the government these days are the bully. And as a sub-branch secretary, I see and hear about it every day. Managers, admin officers, business officers trying to oppress our members and deny them their award rights. I don't see our members as weak, but they need guidance sometimes. And if I can give them that guidance and to overcome those bullies, then I also enjoy taking members' ideas and hashing them out to see what we can achieve. You know, I mean, we're about working as a team in fire rescue. I see the union team. So, best day I experienced doing that was outside Parliament House, and that was seeing our collective at our best. So, you know, I want to be a part of that. So, if I can get back into the job and do it again for another 3 years, I'd be very happy with that.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Our next question, and it'll go to Marty Dixon this time. Marty, how do you think our collective power is different to individual power? What sort of leverage does this give us, and how should we use that power that we have?
Yeah, no problem. Look, I'm not going to dwell much on individual power. I don't really think it's pertinent. Individually, we're easily picked off or can be pressured into unwelcome situations. Collectively, it's very, very different. As an FBU member, and we all still have the capacity for individuality, but if they're feeling like you're being treated unfairly, we have the power of 6,500 fellow members to back us up. That's a pretty comforting fact for me, and I'm sure it is for a lot of others. 2012 workers' comp strike was a perfect example of that. That strike, you know, would that have worked if one person walked out, one station, one zone? No, it wouldn't. It's because we all walked out that we got that result. I wouldn't suggest taking that kind of strike action lightly again, but knowing that it's there and it's something that we've done, it's a pretty good deterrent to the government or the department to stop them from trying to ram stuff down our throats without any consultation or input. Now, we should improve the way that we work together as a collective within the FBU, so we can further capitalise on that power. But yeah, I think the collective power of 6.5 members working as one is it's unbeatable.
Yeah, thanks, Marty. Sam?
Yeah, look, I think Marty sort of said it all. I guess for me, the workers' comp thing was a big thing. The Miranda by-election that Mick Mann sort of sorted out, that was a big sort of show of that when we're together we're stronger. I think all those sort of cliches of, you know, united we fall, or united we stand, divided we fall, they're cliches for a reason. They sort of show that the more we stand together, the more we get stuff done, and especially the Fire Brigade for us, you know, when we do get together, I think we're a force to be reckoned with. And I know there's been a lot of division sort of between country, city, permo, retained, you know, op support and out in station land. And I think when we get past that and we all come together for a common sort of goal, I think that really sort of, that's when we're really strong, and that's when we get the things that everyone's really proud of in the union.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. We might shoot on to the line now. Out to Nicole. Are you there, Nicole?
I'm back. Yes.
No worries.
I'm
yes. Question number 2, Nicole.
Number 2.
You got it
I
there?
pretty much think
Yep.
yeah, I do. I think the other 2 boys have pretty much covered it, haven't they?
Oh,
So
we'd
together
love to hear your answer though.
I'll get there. Pretty much what I think is that together we're a lot stronger. Obviously individuals we're not going to do very much. Everyone's seen the NRMA ads. Like, together we're really good. As a union, we've got, as everyone said, just over 6,000 members. And that's a power we could probably use quite to our advantage and quite wisely.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. Phil, are you there?
Yeah, mate, I'm still here. It's good to see. I did see Darren Sullivan pop up in the comments down before. Hello, Comrade Sullivan. Anyway, to get to the question, look, as a collective, we have more influence over proceedings than just as an individual. An individual can make change or set some standards, you know, or get heard, but they take a long time to get that change done. All together as a collective, we can make real change by influencing stubborn parties to move on something if need be, you know. And as my fellow candidates have pointed out, we had 2 major game-changing events, one at Parliament House, one at Miranda. It was great to be there on the ground and actually see our members standing strong. But we need to be cautious, though. If we flex this muscle too often, eventually not only will we get walls in future negotiations, we'll have possible backlash from the public as well. So that's my thoughts on individual and collective power.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. And yes, I'll just answer a quick couple of questions here. Hi, Ben. Are we taking questions from us? Yes, if we got some time to fit him in at the end, we'll take a few questions. So if you've got some questions, start sending them in now, and we'll get to them. Andy?
Okay, this question I think goes really to the heart of what it is to be a unionist and to be a member of the union. A united collective front to an employer protects all those people who can't adequately represent themselves, aren't able to speak up for themselves. In the Fire Brigade, we all do the same job. We should all work under the same conditions with the same protections and the same rights and get the same payment for that work. Collectivism helps prevent an employer from picking away at individuals. A lone voice in the wilderness is not as powerful as 6,000 voices in unison, and we've shown that with the workers' comp strike and where we've done things like the Miranda by-election. Going forward, you know, we need to make sure that those 6,000 voices are on song, and it's a very powerful force, and we do have a lot of power, and we need to harness that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Bob?
One of the things I've campaigned on through the forums and talking to people is my desire to see the collective come back together. The Fire Brigade and employees and government at times have tried to drive wedges into us. We're sweating the small things. What I want to be able to do is really work on the things that are going to affect rank and file as a whole. And when we get that together and we start to flex our collective muscle, I think we're going to be a stronger, better union. The individual, as we say, we're worried about things that are self-determining, self-management things, whereas the larger collective gives us an ability to voice into that larger collective and bring them all into a stronger force and dominate discussion. If we can get 6,000 people voting instead of one person walking, and we can say to the government, the rank and file have spoken. It's not 12 people, it's 6,500 people. That's the big thing that I really sort of am campaigning on. Work on the big things, and the little things will come along with us. So that's where I feel the power of the collective is.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. A couple of shout outs. Hi, Matty Sigmund, down there in the Illawarra. Joel, down on the south coast. How's things? Regular tuner in. Oh, Kath Douglas, how's things? Our Bruce. Yes, we are taking questions, so send them in. Question number 3, and I'll start with Phil online, if you're there, Phil. Question number 3. What's one rule you'd change tomorrow if you had your wish? If you could snap your fingers and happen like magic, what is the rule you would change?
Oh, look, this was a bit of an open question. I sort of looked at this as maybe union rules and that type of thing. I'd probably look at Rule 51 relating to sub-branches, requiring sub-branch secretaries and even extending it to executive positions as well, to attend so many station visits and forums, to run branch meetings on a regular basis. So basically what I'm saying is like KPIs for our sub-branch secretaries and our executive. Look, over the last 6 years, I've seen a lot of good work being done and performed by our state committee members. But unfortunately, over the last 6 years, I've also seen some lax sub-branches and some executive members. This needs to improve so we can better educate our members and engage our members to stop managers from eroding our basic award rights.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Andy?
Yep. I took this question a little bit wider, and I thought to myself, stuff a rule. What I want to see change is the system. The system in New South Wales with industrial relations is broken. What I want to see is we change the rules, help make the rules change. We get an IRC that has its teeth back and can actually force the government to follow good industrial rules instead of being a toothless tiger it is now. Get rid of the wages expenses cap, or labour expenses cap, that this government has forced upon us, which is doing a lot of harm to our industry and other industries. So basically that's what I want to see change.
Yeah, good question. Good answer. Bob?
When I looked at this question, I was sort of a little bit naive at the moment. I haven't had a lot, like I said, to run into union. I think the wages cap is one that I'm really sort of interested in, where we get paid for extra duties instead of having to give things away. The people that, to an extent, go a little bit further, maybe they should be assisted and paid accordingly. If we're prepared to take extra things on, there should be reward for it instead of having to trade things away. I think that's pretty much the way that I could answer that question. There's so many things that I want to change, but that would be as an individual to suit me or suit the position that I'm in. But I think the things that again affect the rank and file and listen to the concerns of people, but the wage cap's a big one. 2.5% just isn't keeping us up with inflation. We should be able to go for more money.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. And hello to Pete Martin out there at Spencer Central. I'm assuming you mean Smithfield if everyone saw the news the other day. Hello to Dave Smith and Alex and Lee Johnson. Marty?
Sure. I've taken the same sort of track as Andy and Bob on this one. So I would be hoping to change the labour expense cap. It's an archaic anti-worker rule, and it's holding back our ability to run wage cases which enable us to recognise and be remunerated for outstanding work that our members do. I believe this is a big hurdle in our ability as an organisation to expand our capabilities and our footprint. I will add at this time that I'm in no way inferring to MFR, as I'm dead against it, but that is a different conversation altogether. I'm talking about recognition and money for things like swift water rescue, improved rescue capabilities with the TRVs, snake handling, Cert 4s, chainsaws, the list is endless. Remove this government, remove the labour expense cap, and it will improve all of our jobs.
Yeah, thanks, Marty. Very quick question there from Comrade Sullivan, the President. Who was their favourite president over the last 9 years? We'll take that as a comment, comrade. Thank you. Bit of self-promotion there. Sam.
Look, yeah, I guess everyone's on the same page. It's pretty hard to go past the 2.5%. I guess also included in that is the budget cuts and how that's affected other parts of the job. From my sub-branch, I've got a lot of guys now going through the LFs, and I know the training has taken a hit with the budget cuts and them trying to push through like the LF course that probably isn't maybe long enough, and there's sort of a bit of trouble there. And I think that rolls through a lot of things. Rescue has, I think they've taken the brunt of a lot of the cuts, and so yeah, if I could roll back that, I suppose that'd be the way I'd go.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Nicole?
Yeah, I took this one similar to Phil. I actually took it as a union rule that I'd like to change.
Yeah, go.
That rule specifically is Rule 11, and that's in regards to the proxy voting. So I think members that are away from their stations on annuals or retains that are actually working should actually have that opportunity to vote on our awards and things like that.
Okay, cool. Next question is to Andy again. And it's the last question that I've got, and we'll move to the members. What's a little thing the department could fix that would have a big positive impact straight away for our union and its members?
There's a few things that I thought here. One of them, which I probably couldn't say publicly. I guess one of the big things which has impacted us down south and even further south is the boundaries issue and working with the RFS. And I think the fire management came out and supported with what the union was saying about turf wars and all that sort of thing. I think that'd be a good thing for members and the FBU.
Bob?
Yeah, the thing that the union could fix, the department, I could see the department fixing would be to stop seeing us as the enemy, stop seeing the union as the enemy, and then work against the forces that are trying to hold us back inside our boundaries and those sorts of things. And the other big thing in this is stick to our core roles instead of trying to expand into different roles. Really work as hard as we can to make our core roles as strong as we possibly can be, so that then we can take on the outside enemy rather than look interior. If our firefighting and rescue and hazmat, they're our core roles, let's stick to those, build them up as strong as we can, fight the people that are trying to come against us in those roles, and the job will become bigger. We can take on bigger spaces and be stronger that way.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. Marty?
Yeah, thanks, Log. Look, this is a small thing, but at the same time, it's a very, very big thing. I think we need a leader, not a boss, and I am looking at you, Mr. Baxter. Time and time again, we've seen our commissioners stand by while firefighters statewide get thrown under the proverbial bus. For once, it'd be nice to be represented by a head of this organisation who acted like a leader and actually led. This would instantly improve morale and the sense of belonging within fire and rescue. I would also leave the union free to deal with industrial issues instead of defending things the department should be taking care of.
Yeah. Thanks, Marty. Very blunt.
Yeah.
Why not? Mr. Wassel?
Right, after those shots fired. Look, if it was me, I'd probably just add 2 extra pluses. I don't think we've got enough pluses in the name. Look, there's a couple of little things I'd like to push out which probably aren't as big as the other guys talked about. I've been talking for a while about the ability to do part change on annual leave. I think that's something that would benefit a lot of members. If you've got 6 weeks off and you're going on annual leave and you don't need to be away for that whole 6 weeks, if you could come in for 2 weeks of that, or in that 2 weeks and do a couple part changes and have that time off whenever you leave. The other thing that, if I could click my fingers and sort of help out the blokes, there's a big problem, I think, within Metro of getting transferred out of zone. If you can't get someone to swap for your zone, I'd like to be able to just, I think if your time comes up and you've been there long enough, you should be able to jump over the zone that you should be able to go to.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Over to you, Nicole.
Yeah, cool. So I'm not going to go that in depth. Sorry, fellas. I had 2 really small things. So the first one was I would change the tolling of retain stations. I don't think that's ideal in the regional areas. And the other thing, which I'm pretty sure the union can't quite get involved in yet, is I would revisit the expenditure on consumables and reinvest that money back into op support and training, as opposed to what we're spending now, well, what the department is spending now with a 300% markup on a lot of items.
Okay, thank you. Phil?
Yeah, how can you follow all of those excellent answers from the comrades in Sydney and Bathurst? I mean, I wasn't thinking about a little thing. Previously, the guys were talking about, look, I think our department should be campaigning the government to remove the labour expense cap, which should allow the department to employ more staff and take the focus off the budget and refocus on being a service-driven organisation. They want to rebrand Fire Rescue, but by getting staff out and about, they just can't do that if they don't want to spend money to allow staff to do it. Rather than pay some publicity firm hundreds of thousands of dollars to put a plus symbol in our name, thank you for bringing that up, Sam, they want to reduce the budget by not respond and retain as much as they do, through risk-based response. I'm glad Nicole actually brought up tolling and brought back in nurse a 10 risk cap. Look, for the permanents, they keep focusing on overtime caused by sick leave instead of staff, to build a relieving pool of the appropriate size to actually combat it. So basically my point is, let's be a service-driven organisation, not a budget-driven organisation.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. And look, good answers. We'll go to a question from the membership now. Back in the feed here, from Ben Falconer. Any candidate wish to answer? Seeing as we, Fire Rescue retained firefighters, are the only emergency service in the state with a minimum pay for call-outs of an hour, what are your thoughts on raising the minimum call-out to 2 hours, and would you back the change? Now, I'll go to our retained candidates first. Look, we picked on Nicole first a couple of times, so Phil, you?
Yeah, right. Cool. Would be nice to see that question a bit more. But look, from what I remember, it was increasing call-out payouts from 1 hour to 2 hours. I wouldn't be against that. I mean, that would mean I'd get more. The problem is, though, is that would nearly probably double our budget. I know I want to be a budget-driven, but we've got to be realistic at the same time. There are some things which were included in the last award which didn't make it in. That wasn't the union's fault. It was actually the department. They backed out of all the agreements which they made previously. Even if we could just get some of those in, it would make it better. And the department could actually make the retained system a bit better and also get more pay if they actually use the award correctly. Unfortunately, we have some managers who just don't know how to use the award.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Nicole?
Well, that's a curly one. To be honest, I don't think I would agree with increasing it to 2 hours as a minimum call out, but I would push a lot more for the use of the hire retainer. So a hire retainer and the ability to actually use that compulsory availability at 48 hours and 72 hours. So the retained are actually getting more a fortnight without actually having to spend 2 hours at the station.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. Andrew?
Yeah, well, as part of SCOM, you have to work with people such as obviously the retained sub-branch, and I would take it on advisement from what they've been saying, because I don't have my head around it completely. So I would listen to whoever gets in, and they're both good answers, and I'll take both of them on board.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. Bob?
I guess it's something that, again, I'd have to take on advisement, listen to sides of the story and read into it. Again, I will be one voice of 17, and I've got to take a listen to anything that's given away and see where it comes from there. Again, I take it on advisement. I'm more than willing to listen to retained sub-branch members and put their case forward. Again, vote accordingly to what the membership drives.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. Marty?
I'm not sure I'd be too comfortable trying to back a doubling of the minimum call out, but I do see two alternative and probably better options. The first one has been mentioned before, and that would be the use of the increased retainers, which we already have in the award. The department just seemed to, I don't know, I'm just going to call it stupid to use them. The second one, and I think will be something that we're sort of pushing at the moment, I just knife the RFS. Just put a knife, big knife, in the back of those. I'm not going to call them what I'm going to call them. Just start responding our appliances into areas that the RFS have previously had. That's going to increase the call rate for a vast number of retained firefighters across the state, which will put more money in their back pockets. So better outcome for them and a better outcome for the people of New South Wales.
Yeah, thanks, Marty. Sam?
G'day Ben, thanks for the question. Also, just saw some things pop up. G'day Billy Mack and g'day Dan Harvey. How you going? I'm not going to pretend that I'm across all the retained issues and all the things. So I guess like the other guys, I'd have to sort of defer to the retained guys I know and chat to and the guys on SCOM. I guess the other question with stuff like that, like if we double the retained allowance to 2 hours, that money does have to come from somewhere. So I guess from a SCOM position, it becomes where does that money come from? So look, I'm more if the brigade just said we've got money to burn, you can have whatever you want. Yeah, take 2 hours, why not? But you've got to think about where that money comes from in the long run, I suppose.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Sam. And look, really good, really good answers. And look, hello to Billy Mack. I wish you could vote as well, comrade. And the building joke there. He loves being called comrade. Just moving over to the president. We're going to give the president a question. Have we got it up on the screen there? Yep. President from Comrade Sullivan, the outgoing president. What will the candidates do to maintain and improve communication in their sub-branches, and what tools will they use to get this done? And we'll start with Nicole out there in Bathurst.
Fantastic. Me again. Hello, everyone. I'd use forums like this. There's nothing wrong with getting online with digital media and getting into Facebook and Twitter and all that kind of stuff to get more involved with the sub-branch. I think a newsletter out to our sub-branches and getting them more actively involved in communicating would be a really positive step. And I'd be happy to do more things like this and use a Facebook page to communicate with my sub-branch if elected. Just the use of digital media is a lot better these days than it used to be.
Yeah, thanks for that. Phil?
G'day. Look, communication with sub-branches, newsletters are all great. We need to build the network in the first place. We need members, and I just noticed my name was spelled incorrectly, John. Anyway, sorry. We need to network. I know we've been harping for a while about members up details. Unfortunately, a lot of our members tend to move. They tend to change stations, but they don't actually tell the union. The department do not tell the union that you have changed your email address. So we need the members to actually tell us that they have changed those details. That would help us to actually get in touch with them. Nicole's got some ideas about actually having forums like these. It's excellent. I was actually thinking along the lines of that as well, but just remotely, especially for the retained sub-branch and the country sub-branch. There's distance involved. It was also cut down on expenses in regards to remuneration for sub-branch secretaries. Look, we have our sit rep every week, directing people towards the site, our union Facebook page. I don't personally like to do business by Facebook, but there's no reason why the union as a collective one particular place and actually get their information as well.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Which one of you would like to take on that question?
I'll have a go.
Yeah, go Bob.
We did a forum this afternoon out at State Training College, and I guess my sort of simplistic answer to it was I had two words: I need to be busy and visible. I need to make sure that I'm out in my sub-branch, meeting people, passing on the information that I've received through my time at SCOM, the way I voted, the things that I've done. Mick Nan has promised to show me how to make an email list, which will be really important to me. I'm a little bit computer retarded, I guess, for want of a better word. But my big thing is that I'm a good face-to-face communicator. The things that I enjoy is getting out, meet and greet, press the flesh, and make sure that I do that, and attend the SCOM meetings. I don't want to see at the end of my time in SCOM where people say, oh, Bobby did reasonably well, he attended 12 in 3 years. I want them to say, Bobby did great work, he missed 2 in 3 years. So that's the important thing to me. Busy and visible, communication flow both ways, and that's what I aim to strive for.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. Sam?
Yeah, look, I think everyone's on the right track. The digital media thing's obviously going bananas, and everyone's a big fan of it. For me, I come from Yappy's sub-branch, and he's run that sub-branch really well. Everyone knows Yappy, everyone loves him. I think it's really important to keep that face-to-face thing. It's also really important to have people knowing that whatever is going on, that they can call their union delegate for that sub-branch and have him on the phone, and have him be the first port of call before you're telling the inspectors, sorry sirs, all out there, so they know that we can get ahead of it. I suppose the other thing I'd like to push for a little bit more, I think the 24's lost a little bit of it, of more social interaction. I think we've lost a bit of that, going out for drinks or organising surf trips or all that sort of stuff. I'd like to see more of that happen, and more of, it doesn't necessarily have to be all calling each other comrade and slapping each other on the back, but I think you can, once people feel sort of included and you're sort of speaking to people who then they're more happy to come to the meetings and get more involved. So I'd like to see more of that.
Yeah, cheers, Sam. Marty?
Yeah, no worries. Look, I don't think there is any substitute for like face-to-face meetings. Doing station visits, forums, even just a cup of coffee. With a crew every now and again. I think that's invaluable. However, I do see that there is a huge need for active sort of social media accounts for the union and for individual sub-branches. I'm also quite excited to see the new functions on the website that we're currently working on. So we're about to have a new FBU website, which will have some improved functionality as far as contacts and two-way flow of information. So I'm really keen to get stuck into that and use that a bit more. But yeah, look, I think the face-to-face thing is still super important. Possibly revitalisation of the delegate network. Get a few more active delegates at the stations. That's got to be a winner, because then you've got a point of call basically at every station. You can have the information flowing both ways through your station delegates. Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, cheers, Marty. Andy?
Yeah, I think Bobby said it really well, is busy and visible. It's something that I really need to work on. I know it was lacking the last 3 years. Various reasons for that, but it's something I'll be working on the next 3 years if I get elected, and also to revitalise the delegate network down in Illawarra. There's been a lot of feedback on Facebook recently, a lot of very passionate people down in Illawarra, and it's always good to get that feedback, but as I've said to lots of people, my phone's always there, always ring me and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So to have a friendly debate, I'm all for it.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. And I think we can fit this last question in, and it is from frequent flyer for the Facebook Lives, Chad Wallace. Hello, Chad. How's things? Another ISB, he's a local down there. He's not working down there at the moment. Topical, funnily enough. How can we fight the RFS? With a goal to ensure the quickest fire truck is responded, regardless of fire service or area, when we can't even get it right in our own service, time penalties, etc. So I suppose there's a couple of questions there. How do we fight the RFS? And there's probably a time penalties one in there as well. I've got an answer. You've probably seen that over the last couple of weeks, but off to Sammy Wassell.
Look, I think it's there's a few things you can do. I think that's probably beyond, that's more the Leighton and the executive of the union sort of port of call, but for me, I think look, putting AVLs in trucks and doing the media and getting it out there. I think there's also a bit of scope to it. Like, you know, we look bad when we seem to be coming out against volunteers. I don't think anyone is. It's about the management and about how that works. So if we could get more on board with some of the volunteers on the ground, and I think they're on the same page. They want the first person on the truck closest to the best job. But if we can work in better sort of harmony with them, I think we might have a little bit better chance. But yeah, other than that, I suppose leave it to the top mob to keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. We'll cut across to Phil. How are you, Phil?
Marvellous. Look, wonderful question. Look, sorry, my video feed's dropping out a little bit, so I apologise if I cut out a bit. In regards to the RFS, I think the executive, the work which the President and the Secretary have been doing in regards to this is spot on. Sam, you sort of got there as well. We can have two services, no issue, but we can't have two dispatch systems. If we want to get service delivered to the public, we need to actually have one control over the response. So we should be getting the closest truck, the fastest truck, every single time, not because there's a boundary in place or there's a mutual aid agreement or a memorandum of understanding. It should be the closest, fastest truck.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Yep, I certainly agree with quickest and most appropriate truck going. Who hasn't answered this question? Marty?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, mate. Quickest and most appropriate appliance or resource to whatever incident. You know, Joe Public doesn't give a rat's who turns up as long as someone turns up. So yeah, best way to do it is vehicle locators on every appliance. That's something that I know Leighton has pushed for in the past, and the RFS, funnily enough, are dead against it. The weird thing, once again, is why the hell is Fire and Rescue pushing for this? Why are they leaving it up to the union to do the heavy lifting? I don't know.
Yeah, thanks, Marty. Bob?
The union's doing the heavy lifting. Again, as Marty said, let the brigade work harder for us. Our leaders need to work harder. They need to be visible and busy and stronger. We, on the ground, we keep our professionalism as we always have. And first truck, fastest truck, get there. I mean, AVLs, as everyone's touched, I think we can beat them at their game. Be more, I would like a more visible media presence, I guess, from Fire Rescue New South Wales. Not only praising our guys, but telling the truth as it is, not sandbagging to an extent. I think that's where I'm hoping from, leadership from above.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. I'm just going back through here if there's any sort of quick questions we can get through. Obviously, we're on a bit of a time thing. Oh, sorry. Did I ask you that question, Nicole? Did I leave you out? So I did too. Sorry, bad me.
You left me on the other side. So I think to do with the RFS, a lot of the fellas have already mentioned this. We need a centralised dispatch system, and we certainly need AVLs on all of the RFS and fire and rescue appliances. I think they need a minimum meaning. At the moment, they can just throw on whoever they feel like. And I think boundaries really need to be re-looked at. There's a lot of areas that are the urban interface that the RFS really shouldn't be there, and fire and rescue should start taking over.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. And I left out Andy as well. I was trying to find another question to fit in. But Andy, yes, over to you.
AVLS, boundaries, and what was just said was the minimum manning, the guarantee. Okay, the quickest truck goes there, but it's not a ute with dad and his dog going there. You know, it's a truck with 4 people on it that can actually deal with the fire or the incident at hand, and the RFS I'm talking about. And we need leadership from up high. What's management doing about it? They're bagging us out for raising the issue. They need to do something about it.
Yeah, and look, thanks, Andy, and look, and thanks to all the candidates for all their questions, answers. Thank you for everyone that's sending questions. Obviously, we can't get through every single one of them, and there's some absolutely cracking questions in there from Benjamin Banner. Snowy's got a couple in there. I saw Brett Farmer, Sandy Linton up the top there. So look, I'll be wrapping it up now. please vote. Like I said at the start, for those just tuning in now, the ballot papers were sent out by the post today. Metro will probably get them over the next few days, obviously regional a little bit later after that. Thank you very much for tuning into all of these that I've done. Look, certainly a learning experience for me. I'd like to thank Jim Castle. He's the Southwest Sub-Branch, or the ex-Southwest Sub-Branch Secretary. He provided all of this free of cost for me so we could run this, so we could provide a platform for the candidates to come out and, answer the questions, and as well, obviously, me to answer the questions. So a big thank you to Jimmy Castle behind the scenes. Thank you to these guys, and obviously the executive guys that were in for our last one. And thank you once again for tuning in. So again, vote, have discussions, ask questions, and some of these questions on here, I'll be flicking around and hopefully some of these guys can answer them for you. So thank you once again.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers all.
See you later.
See you guys.